This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Pursue Fitness, and as always I'm delighted to be joined by trainer Dave Coldwell. Dave, how are you keeping?
I'm good, yeah, not bad, thanks, not bad.
It's obviously great to hear. Obviously we're down here today at the weigh-in ahead of Anthony Fowler's first fight since his first defeat to Scott Fitzgerald when he goes in with Brian Rose tomorrow night. Just talk to him about that fight and the decision behind taking on Brian Rose.
Because he learned absolutely nothing from the first few fights of his career, fighting Hungarian, Latvian, whatever, tough men. He fights where it's a case of, are you going to stop him or not? How good are you going to look at or not? They don't really teach you many things. Fights against people that are there to win and that are trying to win, they're what, build a fighter. The Craig O'Brien fight, that was one. Fitzgerald was one, and now Brian Rose is one. These are the fights that he's going to develop and he's going to learn from. And coming back against the level which taught him nothing isn't going to do him any good whatsoever. So that's why we wanted a real fight.
How much pressure is there on Anthony on the back of that Fitzgerald fight going straight in there with Brian Rose? Is a defeat playing on his mind at all, and what the circumstances on the back of that would mean?
I kind of hope so. And from the conversations we had in the gym and how he's been in the gym mentally and, vocally, it's a good thing because he now acknowledges that he can get beat. He now acknowledges that he perhaps wasn't as great as what he thought he was. He understands his not weaknesses, but yeah, he understands his weaknesses, things that he's not as good at. And he understands how he can get beat now. Before, he just thought he wasn't going to get beat. He just genuinely thought he were invincible. So the fact that he does acknowledge that if I get beat here, fucking hell, it's shit. He does acknowledge that, and so that's made him. It's going to make him mentally a better fighter.
That sense of invincibility that you've just mentioned, when you first noticed it in Anthony, what was your thoughts around it? Because obviously when you say it, it might come across as if he was a bit arrogant, not necessarily saying that's the case, but maybe he was too cocksure in himself.
No, I've known it from day one. But he's always, he's a great kid to train because he tries, he gives his best every single session. He lives for the sport, he really does. It's just that he's had a lot of success in the amateurs, and some people that have had year on, year out, good success, boxing at high level, boxing top Kazakhs and Uzbeks and people like that. When you're boxing at that level against killers and you're doing well and you're winning, then when you're boxing, in your eyes, you're dropping back down a little, you can kind of mentally be maybe a little bit relaxed or just a little bit to where you think that you're above them. You talk about yourself as though you are above them. And it's not until you get a slap across the face and you get a reality check, then you get back in the real world a little bit and think, oh, hang on a minute. It happens to a lot of fighters. It happens to fighters that haven't even achieved half of what he's achieved in amateurs. They get a little bit clever, and it's not about an outward personality where they're shouting from rooftops and they're talking shit. Because sometimes fighters do that to build up the personality on engagement with social media and things like that. But it's more about subconsciously underestimating opponents, but also not acknowledging what you're not as good at. And that's what Fowler are like. I told him what I thought was going to happen in the Fitzgerald fight. He was brilliant. He was training brilliantly in the gym. He was sparring brilliant. We had some great preparation, everything. I can't fault him for the way he's training. So it's not a case of he didn't train hard enough, he took his eye off the ball in the gym. It's not about that. It's what goes off up here. And I just think because, I don't think, I know it's what he said. Because he knew Fitzgerald as an amateur, kind of one of his old GB teammates today said, that was the worst thing, is the fact that he used to handle Fitzgerald quite comfortably in sparring and things like that, and then he beat him in a couple of rounds in sparring in a fight. That kind of made him think, he can't beat me. And no matter what you try and say to somebody, if they have that embedded into the brain, then it can be a little bit hard to get them back onto planet Earth, sort of thing. It's not that it was an arrogance. He's not an arrogant kid outwardly. He's a nice kid, but a little bit too confident in his own mind. And he genuinely didn't see how Fitzgerald was going to beat him. I kind of tried to tell him, and everything we did was kind of telling him. And it happened. Even after the first round, Fitzgerald, I think, threw 3 left hooks downstairs to his body. I came back to corner and I said to him, I said, he's targeting your body to slow you down, to tire you out for later rounds. But he didn't acknowledge it. I said, don't give him those shots. He didn't acknowledge it. He just thought it was all right. The thing about Fowler is that before that fight, he would think that if you're hitting me, but it's not hurting, it don't matter. And that's what, because he did it in sparring. There was a round when we were sparring with Liam Williams, and just so this is. People think I give him an hard time. I just say how it is, and I love the kid to bits, and I enjoy working with him. He's great, but also he's and a lot of trainers out there will know what I'm talking about. Lovely kids, great to work with, but sometimes if you had air, you'd be ripping it out. So we're sparring with Liam Williams, and that spar is brilliant. One's get control, then the other one. Then it's like that. It's really good. Liam Williams is a really good fighter. He's one of my favourite people for Fowler to spar with, and I think also he's one of the most improved fighters over the last year, 18 months as well. I think Dom's doing a great job with him. And one round, Liam Williams just on his fight going pop, 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 just touching him, and it's just touching Fowler's head like that, and his Fowler just walking forward, and he got completely outboxed by a jab that round. He come back to the corner, and I said to him, I said, you didn't change. I said, you weren't. I said, you've got to have some sort of reaction. I said, you've got to move. You've got to move your head. He was like, you never touched me that round. I went, what? I said, he fucking outboxed you that round. He went, you never touched me. I went, he's touching me with a jab. I went, I didn't feel it. So that sums him up. Yeah. That's unless you twat him hard and make him feel it, he doesn't acknowledge, or he didn't acknowledge that's an issue, that's a problem. So that was before the Fitzgerald fight. So now, at least now, he understands when somebody's actually touching him downstairs, it does have an accumulative effect. It does matter. It does count. But that's part of a fighter's development, and that's part of how he was, and now he's seen what happened in the fight. It's part of his education, and he's learnt from that. And his attitude in the gym, and just the way that he's talking about it, yes, he does acknowledge that he can get beat. He does acknowledge that, if he makes a mistake and if he jumps in and he leans in and he walks onto an uppercut, remember you got dropped in your last fight. Remember, you're giving him opportunity. He does now acknowledge that. So that's made him a better fighter. So we all have to take as losses, and we all have to take as mistakes and acknowledge them. If you acknowledge them, you can come back better. You can learn from them. You can come back. But if you don't acknowledge it, and you just think, oh, it's because I underestimated him, that's it, then you'll still get found out, because you're not actually realising that you are getting it, you are getting outboxed, you are getting outscored. And now in this, in sparring for this one, I would notice, and even the main thing is on the pads, he don't load up as much. He's throwing better hands. He's putting his shots together better. He's not as tense. It's always been a case of getting that tenseness out of him, but it wasn't completely gone. And yeah, there are times when he'll still tense up a little bit. It's still a process. It's not going to happen just like that. But it's far better. It's far better and more relaxed now. You'll notice on his social media. I've said to him about how he bites at everybody and he tries to justify himself. You can have self-belief and you can boost your own ego to the point that you need to, without needing it to be from social media, and whether it's bad or good. You can't take that shit too personally. It's nice when people give you good comments, but don't absorb it and think means I'm great. But at the same time is when people giving you shit, don't absorb it and think you're shit, think you're worthless. But people do that, and Fowler's been a lot quieter on social media. He's not biting quite as much, but that's part of everything mentally that's going on with him and growing as a fighter, growing as a person. And so he's took a lot from that fight. I said to him, I said, listen, it was going to happen sooner or later. I'm glad it happened in a good fight, and let's not forget it was a good fight. You know, it was a 50-50 fight. Just that Fitzgerald was better, and ultimately, if you learn from it, you come back better. If you don't learn from it, the same thing's going to happen again. And this is a very good fight for him because Brian Rose has got a good boxing brain and a good jab, and he will have looked at Fitzgerald and thought, I can do what Fitzgerald did, and he'll look to outbox Fowler, and he'll look to frustrate him.
Moving away from Anthony Fowler, Derek Chisora, victorious a matter of just over a week ago now. Was it just a week ago? No, yeah, last Saturday night. Last Saturday night.
No,
was it 2 weeks? 2 weeks. Oh, time's flying, Dave.
Yeah.
Derek Chisora successfully knocking out Szpilka.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the performance whilst it lasted?
I'm just absolutely buzzing for him. It was brilliant. I'm so happy for him. He's great to work with. It's completely different to what you think he was going to be. But he's great with the lads in the gym. You know, he's always asking how the boys are. It's like a UFC fighter. Oleg smished. Yeah, and so it was nice that he got the big win that he needs at this stage of his career, and that was a dangerous fight. So yeah, I'm over the moon for him, and what a spectacular knockout. I was devastated. It was brilliant. I was happy with how he was. Everything about it was perfect for me.
You just mentioned Derek's involvement with your camp. You know, prior to Derek, you had Tony Bellew, who was I don't really want to say father figure, but the older one of the guys that you train. Yeah. How important is that for the other guys coming from Anthony Fowler, Jordan Gill, even the McDonald brothers? I know they're very experienced, don't get me wrong, but it's still Tony had fought to such a higher level, and now Derek has as well. How important is that for you to have someone like that in the camp?
It is. I mean, listen, it's not the be-all and end-all, but it's a massive thing. You know, the reason why I say it's not the be-all and end-all, because there are other camps where they've got young fighters coming through and being, very, very successful that haven't got that, like, esteemed sort of experienced member of camp in there. But they're doing fine. But for me and for the guys that I've got, the knowledge and just the characters of firstly Bellew and then Chisora in the gym is massive for the guys in the gym. There's little stories, little anecdotes, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant from seeing, and also they've seen what it takes. They've trained alongside him, and then see him perform on the big stage in front of all the attention and all the media. It helps prepare them for hopefully when they get to that spot as well. But yeah, it is very important. It's important for me. I like that. I like my fighters being around characters like that, and plus they are different characters as well. They're big characters.
And Jordan Gill still ticking over. How's he looking? What's he looking to? When's he looking to get back in there? I should say.
Yeah, Jordan's back now. He's back firing all cylinders again now. Took a little bit for him because he broke his hand in that fight. So the most frustrating thing for him was he wanted to get back in the ring ASAP and fight, but he couldn't because he broke his hand. He's been back punching now. 3 weeks, I think it is. Yeah, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. 2 weeks properly, and there's no reaction from his hand. He's back sparring now, and he's looking very good. He's looking very good now. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting him out. End of August, early September he'll be ready for. We're going to go to LA for 2 weeks sparring on Sunday, and that'll bring him on nicely. I want him taken out of his comfort zone, same as Hopi Price, who I've got as well. Taking him out to America as well. Get him, take him in some deep water and see how they swim.
Now, we did just touch on Derek Chisora as well. I wanted to go back to, on that card, it was obviously Dillian Whyte headlining against Oscar Rivas. The news that broke last week was an alleged failed drugs test on Dillian's behalf. When that news broke, what was your reaction to it?
I was gobsmacked. Fucking hell, I can't believe it. It was I saw the boxing scene tweet go up, and it was late, because I was in Dubai. I think I was in Dubai we had a training camp, and that's when we were 3 hours in front or something like that. I don't know.
It was 11 o'clock over here when I saw it, and that was fairly quickly.
Yeah. So and I saw it, and I was like, wow. I was like, fucking hell, I couldn't believe it. And I was shocked. But I was absolutely gutted because I like Dillian. I get on with him really well. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. But it's the bollocks that's followed it since, where it's so many smoke and mirrors, and it's just, we don't know the facts. I don't know the facts. So that's, I've been slagged off for not coming out and saying stuff. Oh, you were loud about it with Miller. Yeah, because Miller's were quite straightforward. Yeah. You failed this, you failed this, you failed this. 3 failed tests. Miller then comes out and starts speaking about it, that he did it. What is it to um and ah about? With Dillian, there's all this bollocks about it. It's like, at the moment, we're all jumping on it, on somebody leaking it on Boxing Scene. I don't know the facts. I hope, because I know him, obviously it's because I know him. If you don't know the guys, then it's easy to just go, you're guilty, you're a bastard, this, that, blah, blah, ban him for life. But when there's emotions about it, yeah, I'll put my hands up. I hope Dylan's clear. I hope that it's something, I don't understand what it can be, but all I keep getting told is, wait until it comes out and you'll understand. Now, there's certain situations where that can happen, where people tell you that, and you go, yeah, and then it comes out, you go, oh, fucking hell, all right, I get it now. Now, if this is one of them cases, and I jump both feet into the pond that says ban Dylan Whyte for life is a scumbag, then it's pretty bad. I just don't know which way it is. Listen, if he's failed, and it's failed, 100% it's failed on PEDs to enhance his performance against Oscar Rivas, then yeah. Because I've always said, I can't come out and say, I did an interview a month or so ago, well, my ideas for doing something about this situation with the drugs. Categorise them, stimulant, PEDs, first time, second time, ban for life. Simple as that. I can't then turn around and say, because I like him, because I like Dylan, I can't then turn around and say, oh well, don't ban him for life. Got to say the same thing, and I'll be gutted. So I'm hoping that it comes out clear, and Dylan said, wait until it comes out, you'll understand. Other people have said, wait until it comes out, you'll understand. So the hearing, they've cleared him to fight. So I'm thinking, wait until it comes out. Am I going to understand? Is it going to be? There must be something. They must have something there that backs him up. There must be. Now, the problem is, for me, is this UCAD rule, where UCAD, for those that don't know, UCAD govern everything. Yeah. Everything that's to do with anti-doping, UCAD are in charge. The Board of Control are powerless. They've signed over that power to UCAD when they made the agreement, when they did the deal with them. The promoter is governed by the Board of Control. So therefore, the promoter is governed by UCAD, right, over in this country. So in UCAD's rules, it says, upon failing a sample A, the one that's failed will be informed, and the promoter of the show will be informed. Everything else is strictly confidential. You're not allowed to breathe a word, you're not allowed to say anything. But there's the fault. There is a fault. Why does that not say strictly confidential, apart from promoter, apart from the person that's failed it, and the opponent that's supposed to be fighting? He should know. Yeah. He should know. There's no getting around that. But ultimately, that is UCAD's rule. Where I've got a problem with the board is that it's like, if I'm entering into an agreement with another promoter about making a fight for a fight or signing a fighter, if a promoter sends me a contract, 3 years, blah blah blah, this, right, and in stipulations, if there's something in there that I don't like, then I'll say, yeah, clause 7, don't want to take that out, we've got a deal. Then you've got a choice of either saying signing or not. So when the board got this contract or got this agreement with UCAD before they signed all the power over to UCAD, The board will have seen this ruling that says you can tell the promoter, you can tell the person that's failed, but you do not tell anybody else outside that, including the opponent. They should have then said, that's wrong. No. Take that out or amend it to put the opponent as well, so then 3 parties know, then everything else is confidential until we find out facts. Fair enough, that's not a problem, because then the opponent knows. But by not doing that, they've created this thing where everybody's known, well, the board and the promoter have known, but the opponent hasn't known. That's wrong. So he's gone in the ring, regardless if it's Dylan Whyte or imagine if that was Miller. Imagine whoever. But with Miller, he failed on some bad shit. Right? We don't know yet what Dylan's. Again, something came out on internet where somebody said it's dynamo, but it's somebody. We don't. I've not seen anything on a sheet of paper from UCAD saying this is what it's failed on. Yeah. Right? It's from somebody saying something. And that can be dangerous because it might not have been real. I don't know. It might be, but it might not be. But imagine if it's something, if stuff comes out and it's even worse. And you're letting a man go in and fight against a guy that's failed drug tests. You can't do that. You can't do that. Rivas should have been told. But I understand the promoter can't say it because he's breaking a confidentiality clause. It's all right saying it needs to be, about morals. But when you're talking lawsuits and stuff like that, even people with money can sit back and go, whoa, hang on a minute. For me, I think as soon as somebody fails a drug test like that, if you can't tell, but it's difficult. I would have said, the fight can't go ahead, cancel the fight. But then you've got all the shitstorm of, well, what do you do? Do you cancel the fight or do you cancel the whole show? So everybody on the show, everybody else doesn't earn the money, everybody else doesn't fight, all fighters have gone through camps, everybody, you can't just pay everybody for it, you can't, it's not viable, they can't do that. But then, the only way is you have to tell the opponent, and then if the opponent turns around and says, yeah, I'll fight, he can fight if he wants, because it might not be something serious, well, I'm not saying serious, but it might not be a proper ped. It might be a stimulant. Like I said, we've been told it's a ped by just somebody. I don't know. I want to see the facts before I can kind of judge it properly. And if I'm, I might be seen as trying to tiptoe around Dillian. I might be, because I like Dylan and I know him. And I'll be honest with you, that's why, But at the same time, I've got to see my issue is with UCAD and that rule, because if that rule doesn't exist, it clears up a lot of shit. Because then Rivas have probably said, I'm not fighting. So then then that's it. But I've heard where, as a promoter, he should have pulled the show. But he can't because he's got a contract between two. I've been a promoter, I understand about contracts between fighters. So if I just pull the show and I'm under a confidentiality agreement, but I don't tell you why I pulled the show, and I can't tell you why I pulled the show, but I just pull the show, even though you've been cleared to fight, I'm fucked. And this where it makes it worse, because of this confidentiality thing, because you can't tell the fans. So the fans are all making up. I'm making my own minds up. I'm like this. 1 minute I'm thinking, it's got to be something. It's got to have failed on something. But then you get told, oh, wait until the story comes out, wait until facts come out, you'll understand. So then I'm thinking, well, is he going to be cleared? And if he's going to be cleared, and you've only about to try, and you've done this, you've said this, blah, blah, then it's like, oh, I don't know. It's one of those where I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want people to ask me about it, because I just don't know. And because I don't know, somebody that I genuinely like, and I've got time for, I'm not just going to rip them to bits. Because then if I'm wrong, I'm going to feel a twat. But don't get me wrong, if he's cheated, because we don't know, so if he has cheated, and if it is as bad as what I hope it's not, then he's in the same bracket as the rest of the cheats. And then I will speak, and then I will say, Dylan, I like you, man, but you fucking cheated. You've got to you've got to know the facts before you can go full pelt into something. And when like I said, when you know somebody, and it's hard to go hard at them until you know that they've 100% done wrong. You know, you've got to tiptoe around it. You know, right now, all I know is that a guy that writes very, very well brought the story, and his word gets took because he's a very good source, and usually he's spot on and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's his word. So, I've just said in an interview, I love Spencer Fearon to bits, right? But Spencer came out and said something in an interview where he said that he's been told Rivas failed a drug test. Nothing has been said else about that, right? And that's good, because that's just kept that quiet, right? Because that is just hearsay. Is that the same thing? Is that the same thing what happened with Dylan? Somebody said that it's failed on this. It might not have been that. I don't know. But you can't just come out and say something and not have anything to back it up. And so I think Spencer's wrong for that. He shouldn't have said that. He might well be right. If he has, then fair enough. But how does he know that and nobody else? And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, man. Where's that come from? And then I've never seen anybody else say it. Anybody else. So that's quite bad for me. But it has that, because there's nothing come out and he's been cleared. I know I'm saying things over and over again. He's been cleared to fight by UKAD. Surely UKAD must have looked at that and said, well, he's all right to fight. Because surely, if you failed a drug test, you shouldn't be allowed to fight. So, why? Why is it? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I can't see how we can have failed a drug test and then being allowed to fight. I can't say by UKAD, not by Eddie, not by the board. Forget them. It's by UKAD. UKAD have passed him to fight. So if he failed on something, why are they letting a fighter fight? That's where it's fucked up, and that's where it's wrong. And then that's what goes towards making me look a twat, because I don't know which way to go with it.
Well, Dave Coldwell, that was a very detailed explanation of your take on the situation.
We're not any further forward, are we? Because I can't say. It looks like I'm tiptoeing around it, but it is what it is. Until the facts come out. When the facts come out, then we can discuss, and then we can have valid opinions. Right now, it's just speculation, and I'm just a fan, same as everybody else. It's just speculating. All I will say is that it was wrong that Rivas was allowed to fight without knowing. It was wrong. That should never have happened. For me, if you've got to fail on your drug test, then that fight should be scrapped, or at least that man should be given an opportunity to say, well, go on, do you know what? I will fight. Give me an extra whatever, and I'll fight. Then there's always that option.
Dave Coldwell, I've kept you for long enough now, and I know you've got one more person waiting to speak to you. So as always, thanks for speaking to myself and Boxing Social.
Cheers, mate. Nice one. Thanks.